His points prop tonight, 23.5. His 3-point prop, 2.5. I think of those, like maybe it's a square play, but I think the volume at least is going to be there. So maybe he doesn't drop 45, but I think he's going to shoot a lot.
Yeah, I don't mind it. And as we always say on this show, sometimes the square side is the right side. There's no question about it. The Sixers are going to go back to the well with James Harden. Now, they're going to have some help from Tobias Harris and Tyrese Maxey. But for me, it's the sabotage factor is, will the Celtics double down on trying to slow down James Harden and maybe make someone else beat them? And can they? Because sometimes when a shooter gets hot, and certainly James Harden, when he's on his game, is impossible to stop, can they stop him? It's like Jimmy Butler in that opening round game against the Bucks. The Bucks did everything, didn't matter. He averaged like 35 points a game at least. So James Harden is not the shooter that he once was. He's not as consistent as he used to be. The question is, he'll get his shots. The question is, can he be consistent against a very good Celtics defense when he was more consistent and more efficient earlier in his career?
Well, and also he had unreal shooting splits last game. Shot 56% from the field and 50% from the three-point line. But when you're playing player props, it matters just as much the amount of shots that they're taking. Because he shot the ball 30 times. He shot 14 threes. So I think based on that alone, like even if he only shoots 30%, if he shoots 10 threes, you still have, 3 threes that you're making and you still hit your prop. So I think it's only the over for me on James Harden just because Joel Embiid's not in the lineup. Somebody's got to be the scorer, and James Harden has proven that it's probably him.
But here we are. Shohei Ohtani is doing Shohei things through the first month of the season. He's the second favorite to win the Cy Young in the American League. He's at plus 400. He's behind Garrett Cole at plus 300. And he is by far the odds-on favorite to win the MVP. He's at minus 105. Mike Trout, the next closest, at plus 700. So I ask again, Chelsa, Ohtani to win both the Cy Young and the MVP in the same season.
No, I don't think he's going to win Cy Young. I think this is a hard award to pry out of the sticky fingers of Garrett Cole. The way he is throwing right now, it's hard to go against him, especially somebody who is a veteran. Like, this is not somebody who came out of left field. Like, he is a crafty pitcher that even when he doesn't have his best stuff, he knows how to locate his pitches and do whatever to get around it. It's really hard for Ohtani to, number one, even be a pitcher in the major leagues, but I think if you have a bet on him, it's probably going to be MVP because we've seen the hitting is definitely there, even though right now he's not in the top 10 of OPS. So maybe somebody can take this award from Ohtani, but if I were to have a bet on Ohtani, it would be to win MVP and not Cy Young.
Yeah, I'm the same way as well. And at minus 105, I think that's a lot of value. I'm surprised this is not juiced more. And this is also when Shohei is coming off an outing against the A's where he got roughed up, and ultimately he's going to recover from that. I think as the season goes on, this will get juicier and juicier and juicier. So almost even money. Yeah, MVP is the call.
Lucy, I feel like your therapist. I have seen that you have been tweeting that the Red Sox are going to win the World Series again. This is something that you've done before, and you have been wrong in the past. Why should we believe you now?
I have been wrong in the past, very, very wrong. But this team, I will say there have been nights this season where I do tweet it even though they won, and I don't want to because it's not a great win. It's just some nights it's tough. But this team, I am telling you, this team is fun to watch now. Connor Wong, 11 total bases yesterday, 2 home runs. This team beating the Blue Jays. This team has something to it, and they are finding ways to win games, and I am excited about where this season is going. They won 9 games in April last year, and they won far more than that in April this season. They have almost beat the Blue Jays now more times than they did all season last year. So if they win today, I think they will have tied how many wins that they had against the Blue Jays last season, which I think was 3. And now they are about to have 3. They're impressive. They are surprising people as I thought they would. And I'm not ruling out a World Series win, personally. No way. I'm going to keep tweeting it because until this team proves me wrong, I am waiting until I'm going to say, like, last year it was around August when I stopped tweeting it because it was just so out of the question. But this year, I'm going to wait maybe until then too, because people are still like, I'm out on them until like July. No, be in on them now. The argument is like, well, they're not doing no, they are winning games, people. They are on a 4-game winning streak. I don't know how you can say this team is bad. Their ace, Tanner Houck, went over on his strikeout prop last night. Thank you for that, Tanner Houck. And I don't see how this team is bad right now. I can't make an argument for how they're bad. So that's my argument for why people should watch and should support this team.
What is it about the Nuggets that we don't give enough credit towards?
Yeah, I'm not sure what it is, Jenks, but I totally agree.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe it's just because Nikola Jokic is just kind of a more personal, doesn't flash his stuff in the public eye as much as some of these other players. You know, he just wants to go out and play basketball. He's not worried about the rest of it. And maybe that's why. Maybe it's just because more so recency bias of names in the media over and over and over again. And as good as Nikola Jokic is, he's not always talked about. And that seems odd to me. But the Nuggets as a team, they're a deep team, and that's going to help them in this postseason. That's the issue with the Suns right now, and they're learning that pretty well against this Denver team. But you have Jamal Murray, you have Michael Porter Jr., Aaron Gordon has been great, both offensively and defensively. You have Jeff Green. You know, you just have a ton of players that just go out there and play. They're not so worried about the flashiness or the stats, or even, I mean, I just love Jokic walking into the arena before the game. He typically, if he's dressed up, he's wearing like a nice put together suit, maybe something you could, take into account for the Derby party this weekend, Jenks. Go off one of Jokic's looks. But James Harden, you had the weird pants the other day, the wide legs, the feathers, like that type of stuff kind of just affects, as consumers, our image of these teams and stuff. So that probably is why the Nuggets don't get quite as much respect, but they're playing the best basketball of any team in the postseason right now.
When Craigslist was more of a thing, do people still use Craigslist anymore, by the way? Is that out? Do people use that for anything, or do people just murder people on Craigslist?
No, you can get cheap things on Craigslist. I used to look for places to
Okay.
live, like during the baseball season, because it's tough to find like short-term rentals. But yes, continue.
Okay, so I was looking for a cheap painter a few years ago, and I looked on Craigslist. I'm like, you know what? I don't want to go through, and there's so many apps now you can generally go through, Thumbtack, Angie, whatever it is. And so I was like, I'll just go on Craigslist. I'll find a local painter to paint this place because it could use a coat of paint. And so basically I went to work and said, all right, you guys paint this. And I came back and it was the worst. It was a bad idea. Matt said, it sounds like a bad idea. It was a bad idea. And it's one thing to say, hey, this isn't a great paint job. I'm talking like it looked like some kids had done this. There was even a swipe of paint like across the mirror in our bathroom. Like intentional. Like it wasn't just like, oh, hey, I'm so bad. I've got this nerve condition. I have carpal tunnel. That's why I can't paint straight. Seriously, these guys came in, slopped a bunch of paint on the wall, and then when I tried to contact them again, gone. It was terrible. I'm like, did you say that you were going to come over and then you handed a paintbrush to your 8-year-old child while you went out and ran errands? Because that's what it looked like. And that's the last time I think I used Craigslist.
I should have known that there was a home improvement story waiting to come out of the fold from Sir Michael Jenkins. You can always count on him for a good home improvement story.